Hi everyone, Mark Merrill for Farm. Deflect-O-Crats, they still hate America, folks. Come on, guys and gals and Trump-hating politicos. Give up slamming the American voter as punishment, you the Dems that is, against the republic that was built into what it has been for the past several election series. What are you afraid of anyway? Poor elitists like Ding Dong here. Durbin. Can't keep the swamp filled with vile insinuations? Well, here's the latest ramblings, folks, from the Democrats on ongoing trials at destroying the Republic of America. Their latest attack.
Senate Democrats propose constitutional amendment to abolish Electoral College. Senate Democrats proposed a constitutional amendment on December 16th that would abolish the Electoral College and ensure the country's presidential elections were determined by the popular vote. It is time to retire this 18th century invention that disenfranchises millions of Americans, Senate Judiciary Chairman Dick Durbin said in a press release. He and Senators Brian Schatz and Peter Welch proposed the legislation after another proposal emerged in the House last week. No one's vote should count for more based on where they live, Schatz said in the press release. The Electoral College is outdated and it's undemocratic. It's time to end it. Article 2 of the Constitution establishes the Electoral College, which directs states to appoint electors for casting votes for president and vice president. The practice has come under considerable criticism from Democrats such as Durbin, who noted in his press release that he tried to abolish the Electoral College in 2000. In all but 5 presidential elections, the winner of the election received the most votes, the press release read. 2 of those 5 times came in the last 25 years, handing the presidency to candidates the majority of voters rejected. The release was referring to former President George W. Bush and candidate Donald Trump losing the popular vote in 2000 and 2016 respectively. In the most recent presidential election, Trump won 49.9% of the popular vote compared with Vice President Kamala Harris's 48.4%. Trump has both supported and criticized the Electoral College in social media posts. He said in 2012 that it was a disaster for democracy, and in 2019 said he'd realized the Electoral College is far better. He said that the brilliance of the Electoral College is that you must go to many states to win, adding that without it, smaller states would lose power. Eliminating the Electoral College via constitutional amendment would require state and national approval. According to Article 5 of the Constitution, Congress can send the issue to the states after 2/3 of both the House and Senate approve an amendment. From there, 3/4 of the state legislatures or state ratifying conventions must also approve. The House legislation is a joint resolution with proposed text for a constitutional amendment. It reads in part, the pair of candidates having the greatest number of votes for president and vice president shall be elected. The bill clarifies that the change would be enacted following verification by 3/4 of state legislatures. The bill and amendment seem poised to fail with a Republican-dominated Congress next year. In October, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell panned a call by his state's governor to abolish the Electoral College. McConnell said the Electoral College encourages candidates to travel to smaller states. At its core, the Electoral College protects Americans from the whims of the majority, something I'm familiar with in the Senate. Without it, no presidential candidate would ever travel to a small state in Middle America.
Gee, I don't know how much more clear it can be, ladies and gentlemen. And Dick Durbin right here is just seems to be he's continuing on as a advocate for abolishing it. Why? Well, then just go ahead, Deflect-O-Crats. Keep on making threats, accusations, demands, and your political, temporarily, by the way, executive orders, pardons of God knows who's next, and especially mandates until the new Trump administration takes over the country, like it or not, January 20th of 2025, okay? Meantime, you know what you Deflect-O-Crats can do? You can shut your pie holes. Take some old-fashioned early 20th century philosophy. Or maybe some words to live by is more like it. Advice that came from my parents, who were born, get this. My parents were born before World War I, the sinking of the Titanic, and the first manufactured gas-powered automobile. They used to live by phrases like this. Opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody's got one, and lots of them have lint in them. That clear enough? Plus, if you combine all the above-mentioned threats and demands against Americans' rights and freedoms from the left and the radicals and the social media minions out there, it only adds up to this. Most people with lots of money lose track of whether they are foot or horseback. Don't know which way to move forward in life. As if we haven't had enough for Dick Durbin, folks. We've got another debacle to deal with him. Seems he ran into a CNN reporter, of all people, back on December 18th, while he was in the Senate for some hearings. A CNN congressional correspondent, Manu Raju, took a shot from Dick Durbin when he questioned the wage raise for members of Congress and the emergency spending bill. Here we go again. Raju asked Durbin of Illinois whether members of Congress deserved the pay raise included for them in the bill, when Durbin said he had no clue it was even in the bill. Oh, please. Are you kidding me? Raju pressed him on whether Congress had earned a pay raise. Durbin spun the question around. People look at the performance of Congress and say, why should we give them more money, Raju said. What about the media? Durbin fired back. Think about that for a second. Raju responded, laughing at the comparison. We're not paid by public money. I know you're not, rattled Durbin and mocked him. But half your listeners are not there anymore, and you're still getting the same paycheck? What's going on? Raju noted to CNN that Durbin was the second highest Senate Democrat leader, and he even did not know the full details of the bill being passed to avoid a government shutdown. Many Republicans are also vehemently criticizing the deal reached between Democrats and Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson that would continue funding the government, but without significant budget cuts. The Christmas omnibus bill would extend spending 100 days into the administration of President-elect Trump. When Raju ended his report about the exchange on CNN, network host Jim Acosta joked that Raju was worth every penny of his income. Gee, that's nice. Support even on a sinking ship. Enough of this guy right here. This is what we're dealing with here, right here, folks. Imprimus from Hillsdale College says it a lot. Populist conservatism and constitutional order must be preserved. Preserved. And here's another thing we need to do as we the people, folks. How to prevent bullying. With common sense. And there are laws that protect you from being bullied. Doesn't matter who. Social media, people on the street, cops. I'm not saying all cops are bad. I'm not saying all police officers are bad. When it comes to harassment, folks, you have every right here to report it. It started way back at the Declaration of Independence. We the people. Second paragraph. Can't emphasize it enough, as we always do here on Firm, where we stand up for truth, facts, reality, and common sense. And Old Glory. Now supported by quite a few million young people in our country. So, folks, if you want better information and sources from a growing and popular podcast source, you're looking at it. I'm Mark Merrill, and this is Firm, Fairness in Reporting Media. You can find our podcasts, over 280 now, on rumble.com/fairnessmedia1, Twitter, YouTube, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at fairnessinreportingmedia@gmail.com, fairnessinreportingmedia@gmail.com. Check out our podcasts anytime, folks. Thanks for joining us. Peace to all.